Hi, I'm Jacqueline Young, the MindShift Coach and a Certified Master Hypnotist. This recording is offered as supportive and educational hypnosis and is not a substitute for medical or mental health care. Please do not listen to this recording while driving or operating heavy machinery. If at any point the session does not feel right for you, you can simply stop and return to your surroundings. If you're ready, you can begin by settling into a position that feels comfortable, allowing your body to be supported and letting your attention soften as we move gently into rest. Now take a moment and simply let the room envelop you and let this moment be simple. Nothing needs to be fixed tonight. Nothing needs to be figured out. If your mind has been busy, if your body has been holding a little bit more tension than you realized, that is not a problem to solve in the dark. This can be a place where you set the whole day down, where the nervous system begins to understand in a quiet and practical way that it is safe to stand down. Allow your eyes to close whenever they feel ready. And if they are already closed, that is fine. There is no need to focus hard on my words. You can listen in a loose way, letting meaning come and go, letting your attention drift, and letting your body respond to the parts that feel comforting. Sometimes sleep arrives most easily when the mind stops trying to manage the process. And just begin by noticing your breathing, not as something you have to control, but as something your body has been doing faithfully for you all day. Breathing in, breathing out, steady and natural. And if the breath feels shallow at first, that is fine too. Anxiety can tighten the breath without permission, as if the body is ready and bracing for something that has not happened. Tonight, there is no requirement for bracing. Even one small, longer exhale can begin to ground you and send the message that the immediate moment is safe. You might notice on that exhale the smallest shift in the jaw, the throat, the upper chest, a loosening that happens on its own when the breath is allowed to leave fully. And perhaps the next breath in comes a touch deeper down into the belly, not because you forced it, but because your body sensed there was room. Let your awareness move slowly through the points of contact where your body meets the surface, supporting you, beneath you. The back of the head supported, the shoulders settling, the arms resting, heavy in a comfortable way, the chest and belly rising and falling gently, the hips and legs held without effort. There is something profoundly calming about being supported, not by thought, not by willpower, but by gravity and steadiness and the simple fact of being here. Anxiety often lives in the future. It tries to move ahead, to scan, to predict, to prevent. It can be so quick, so automatic that it feels like part of you rather than a pattern simply passing through you. And tonight, you do not need to win a battle with anxious thoughts. You are not required to argue with them. You can let them appear and then let them pass, the way you might hear a distant sound and then notice it fading on its own. If thoughts come, they can come. If a worry tries to step forward, it can step forward, and you can meet it with a simple inner response. I hear you, and we are resting now. Not a dramatic declaration, just a gentle boundary, a quiet leadership inside yourself. The part of you that has been carrying you so much can soften its grip, even if the mind still tries to hold on. As you breathe, you might imagine that the out breath creates a little more space in the body, space in the chest, space behind the eyes, space around the ribs, space in the belly. Anxiety often feels like constriction, and sleep, in contrast, feels like spaciousness. Tonight, you are not forcing anything open. You are simply allowing space to return. Let the muscles of your face smooth out, the forehead releasing, the eyebrows softening, the eyes resting comfortably in their sockets, the tongue resting easily, no need to press it anywhere. The jaw relaxes and falls slack ever so slightly. These small places matter because they tell the nervous system in its own language that vigilance is no longer required. Now, allow your attention to drop down through the neck into the shoulders, noticing where the body has been carrying the day. Sometimes the shoulders hold a subtle upward lift, like readiness, like responsibility. You can allow the shoulders to drop even 1 millimeter. And if they drop more, that's fine. If they drop less, that's fine too. It is enough to simply give that permission. As your shoulders soften, the arms can grow heavier and the hands can loosen. Pay attention and let your fingers uncurl, palms simply resting, a sense of weight returning to the limbs. This is the body's natural direction of sensation when it no longer needs to perform. An anxious mind often tries to stay useful at night. It rehearses tomorrow. It revisits today. It searches for the one detail that could have been handled differently. And yet, the body already knows that night is for restoration. Sleep is not a reward you earn by thinking the right thoughts. Sleep is the natural state of a system that feels safe enough to let go. So tonight we create safety. We choose safety, not through effort, but through gentle cues. The steady sound of my voice, the predictable rhythm of breath, the softness in the muscles, the steady support beneath you. These are the cues the body trusts. You may notice that the edges of your awareness begin to blur a little. That is normal. Sometimes sound becomes more important than meaning. Sometimes words drift together. That is a sign you are moving in the right direction. You do not need to hold on to any one sentence. You can let it all wash over you like warm water, like a gentle tide. Now imagine in a simple way that there is a place you go in your mind when you are allowed to fully rest. It may be a real place you have known, or it may be something your imagination creates now. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to feel safe enough, quiet enough, and steady enough for you. Perhaps it is a softly lit room with a comfortable chair, or a bed with clean blankets, or a cabin space where the air is warm and calm. Perhaps there is a window with darkness beyond it, and the darkness feels friendly, not demanding, not full of expectation, but simply part of night doing what night does. Perhaps you are outside in the night time in a hammock. Wherever you find yourself is perfect and perfect for you. Notice the quality of the light in this place. Low, warm, gentle. Nothing harsh, nothing bright. The kind of light that tells the nervous system it can settle. The kind of light that signals evening, signaling a natural slowing. In this place, there is nothing you need to manage. The room is already taken care of. The temperature is right. The air is easy. The surface beneath you is supportive. And you can allow your mind to rest in the idea that everything is already handled for now. If anxiety has been visiting you at night, you can imagine that here it has a place to sit down to, not to be analyzed, not to be fixed, simply to be allowed to settle. Sometimes anxiety is a part of you that has been trying, in its own misguided way, to keep you safe. It has been scanning for risk because it believes vigilance will serve you. It believes vigilance is protection. And tonight you can let that part know that protection is not required right now. You can quietly reassure it, we are safe, we are resting, we are allowed to stand down. And you do not need to repeat those words perfectly. It is the feeling beneath them that matters. The feeling of a steady inner presence, a calm authority, a gentle certainty. Now imagine a soft boundary around this resting place, like a gentle perimeter made of calm air. Anything that belongs to tomorrow stays outside that boundary. Anything that belongs to the past stays outside as well. Not pushed away aggressively, simply placed where it belongs, outside, waiting, not urgent, not immediate. Inside this boundary, there is only this: breath, comfort, quiet, softness, and the slow return to yourself. You may notice that your body begins to grow pleasantly heavy, as if a warm blanket has been placed over you. Not an added weight, unless that's what you prefer, but just a familiar heaviness that comes with safety. Muscles releasing their tiny holdings, the spine resting, the stomach unclenching, the breath smoothing. It is as though your entire system is remembering how to be carried, how to be light. If the mind tries to tug you back into thinking, you can allow yourself to notice that tug and then let it go. The same way you might let go of a thread that caught on your sleeve. No struggle, no frustration, just letting it slip away. Now we deepen this rest in a way that feels natural. You can imagine that with each and out breath, you settle more, as if the surface beneath you supporting you becomes softer, more welcoming. The mind becomes less interested in tracking. The body becomes more interested in sinking. And that is a good direction. In this place, you can begin to sense a quiet steadiness inside you that does not require constant monitoring. It is the steadiness of a person who has done enough for today, the steadiness of a nervous system that is allowed to power down, the steadiness of someone who can trust that rest is productive in its own way because it restores what thinking cannot restore. Now, if anxiety has been tightening your chest or stirring your stomach or creating that restless sense of alertness, you can imagine that those sensations are simply signals that the system has been running too fast. And in the same way a system can rev up, it can also slow down, not by force, but by gradual easing. You might imagine a dial, not a dramatic control panel, just a simple dial you turn with two fingers. The dial represents intensity, and tonight you are turning it down by small, comfortable increments, one notch, and you notice the body's response. Another notch, and the breath becomes easier. Another notch, and the muscles loosen. Another notch, and the mind becomes less insistent. And you do not need to turn it all the way down at once. You only need to turn it down enough to allow sleep to enter. And as you do, you may notice that the anxious energy begins to spread out, become less concentrated, like a drop of ink in water, dispersing until it is barely noticeable, until it becomes part of the background. The body understands dispersal. It understands soothing. It understands returning to baseline when given time. If thoughts arise now, they can be met with simple kindness. There is no need to judge yourself for having a busy mind. A busy mind often belongs to a capable person, a caring person, a person who has carried a lot. And rest is not something that must be earned. Rest is something that allows you to keep living with steadiness. Tonight, you can allow yourself to be worth this rest, not because you accomplished something, not because you proved anything, simply because you are human and your body needs time to decompress. Your body needs time to relax. Your body needs time to heal. Notice again the breath, the natural rhythm, the way the body exhales without needing instructions. And with each exhale, you can let a small portion of the day dissolve. A conversation you do not need to replay. A to-do list you do not need to complete right now. A feeling you do not need to resolve at midnight. Everything can wait. Now, imagine the mind as a room with gentle lights. Earlier today, the lights were bright, the room was active, People were moving in and out, and now at night you begin turning the lights down. One by one, the bright overhead lights dim. The smaller lamps remain, soft, warm, low. This is darkness in a comforting way, the kind that says you do not need to see anything right now. And as you use your imagination as the internal lights dim, the mind becomes quieter, less analytical, less demanding, more receptive to rest. And you might begin to sense your drifting, as if your attention is floating on the surface of sleep. If you are already drifting, you can allow yourself to drift further. If you are still listening clearly, that is fine too. Your unconscious mind is listening, doing all the work it can in its own way, taking in what supports you, letting go of the rest. Now we create one more layer of reassurance for the anxious part that likes to stay alert. You can quietly say, "You do not have to keep watch tonight. You have done your job, and you can rest too. Nothing is being missed. Nothing is being forgotten. Tomorrow will still be there, and you will meet it with more clarity because you allowed yourself to sleep." It is often enough to give the mind a simple plan, such as this: a quiet agreement. If something truly important arises, you will notice it tomorrow with fresh eyes. And for everything else, sleep will do what sleep does best: restore, reorder, integrate, heal. Now allow a gentle softness to spread through the center of your chest, not as a forced feeling, but as a quiet settling, a sense of being held from within, the kind of internal support that calms the system at its roots. You may imagine that your breathing becomes slightly slower now. And even if it does not, your body is still moving towards rest. The direction matters more than the speed. As you continue, you might notice a pleasant numbness or heaviness in the hands or feet. You may notice the body feeling slightly distant, as if it is receding into the background. These are normal signs that the mind is preparing to sleep. You do not need to check them. You can simply allow them. Now the mind does not need to make sense of anything. Now it does not need to stay sharp. It does not need to stay organized. It can become soft around the edges. It can become dreamy. It can become quiet. And in that quiet, you can allow the night to take you. If you are ready to sleep now, you can drift. If you are not yet asleep, you can still rest deeply, knowing that rest itself is healing. And sleep often arrives in the moment you stop tracking it. In the background of your awareness, you can hold one simple truth. You are safe enough in this moment. The body is supported. The room is steady. The night is doing what night does. And you can allow everything to be taken care of later. And now I will begin to speak a little more softly, leaving more space between the words, giving your mind more room to simply drift. You do not need to follow. You do not need to listen closely. You can simply let my voice be part of the background, like the steady sound of a gentle current, breathing in, breathing out, settling, softening, drifting. And as you drift, you allow any anxious parts of you to feel the relief of being off duty. You can allow anything that's busy in your mind to loosen its grip. You can finally allow the body to rest as deeply as it wishes. The night is long. The bed is supportive. The air is calm. Your breathing is enough. And if sleep comes now, let it come. Let it take you gently, the way a soft tide carries you out, the way a warm blanket settles, the way the lights dim in a quiet room. You do not need to hold anything up anymore. You can let go. You can drift, and you can sleep.